In international relations, nations have always sought powerful ways to make their voices heard. For centuries, naval might was the ultimate symbol of strength. Today, that tradition continues with the construction of massive, city-sized aircraft carriers. These floating fortresses are mobile airbases and statements of national ambition. The United States and China are now locked in a high-stakes naval race for global influence. This rivalry is about more than preparing for conflict. It's a daily display of power projection. When a U.S. carrier strike group sails through contested waters, it sends a clear message: we are here, and we can act. China is now learning to speak this same language, building advanced carriers to assert itself as a global player. The scale of these vessels is staggering. Imagine a skyscraper turned on its side, packed with thousands of crew, and topped with a runway for advanced jets. For both Washington and Beijing, investing billions in these floating cities is a calculated bet that sea power remains the ultimate expression of national strength. This contest is unfolding in the South China Sea and Western Pacific, with each new carrier launch marking a new chapter. As this naval showdown intensifies, the very definition of global power is being rewritten. The aircraft carrier stands at the center of this strategic chess match between the world's two most powerful nations. China's naval ambitions have surged with the launch of its third and most advanced aircraft carrier, the Fujian. This 80,000-ton giant, launched in 2024, is a milestone for China's shipbuilding and military aspirations. Unlike its predecessors, the Fujian features a state-of-the-art electromagnetic catapult system, technology on par with the U.S. Navy's newest carriers. This leap allows China to launch heavier, fully armed aircraft, including stealth fighters and early warning planes, dramatically boosting its naval air power. In 2025, the world watched as the Fujian's catapults launched the J-35 stealth fighter and KJ-600 early warning aircraft, marking a historic first for China. While not yet fully operational, the Fujian's presence alone has shifted the strategic balance in the Indo-Pacific. With capacity for around 60 advanced aircraft, it gives China a formidable platform to assert its claims and challenge U.S. dominance in the region. The Fujian is more than steel and electronics. It's the embodiment of China's dream to become a true blue-water navy. China is quickly mastering carrier operations, closing a technological gap many thought would take decades. The world is watching as China's ambitions at sea become reality. The United States Navy remains unmatched in aircraft carrier power, with a fleet and experience no other nation can rival. The U.S. operates 11 nuclear-powered carriers, granting it global reach and endurance. These ships, including the Nimitz and Ford classes, form the backbone of American power projection. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's largest and most expensive warship, can carry over 70 aircraft and launch up to 125 sorties per day. Like China's Fujian, Ford-class carriers use electromagnetic catapults, but the U.S. has refined this technology through years of experience. The real U.S. advantage lies in its people and institutional knowledge, generations of expertise in complex carrier operations. From pilots to engineers, the U.S. Navy's highly trained personnel are its greatest asset. This experience is supported by a global network of bases and alliances, allowing sustained operations far from home. A U.S. carrier strike group is a powerful ensemble, seamlessly integrated and practiced in joint operations. While China is building impressive hardware, the U.S. leads in doctrine, training, and real-world experience. This legacy of naval aviation excellence is America's most enduring asset in the carrier showdown. The U.S. Navy's edge is not just in ships, but in the expertise that brings them to life. In the carrier race, experience is the ultimate force multiplier. Aircraft carriers are more than war machines, they're powerful tools of diplomacy. When a crisis erupts, the question is often, where are the carriers? Their presence alone can reassure allies and warn adversaries. Carriers support humanitarian missions, enforce international norms, and assert freedom of navigation in contested waters. For the U.S., sailing a carrier through the South China Sea is a direct, non-violent challenge to China's claims. China, too, is adopting this strategy, using carriers to protect global interests and showcase its technological achievements. Carriers become floating billboards for national power, influencing perceptions worldwide. Their value in peacetime can rival their wartime role, serving as versatile instruments of statecraft. For both the U.S. and China, these ships are the queens on the global chessboard. dominant, mobile, and unmistakable symbols of intent. While the US and China focus on massive carriers, Ukraine's use of sea drones in the Black Sea has shaken naval thinking. Ukraine has crippled Russia's Black Sea fleet with small, fast, and cheap uncrewed vessels, proving that even mighty warships are vulnerable to swarms of drones. This asymmetric warfare highlights new threats, but the context matters. Russia's fleet lacked the layered defenses of a US or Chinese carrier group. Carrier strike groups are protected by destroyers, cruisers, and their own air wings, making them far tougher targets. The lesson isn't that big ships are obsolete, but that navies must adapt, developing new tactics and technologies to counter drone swarms. The age of the drone has arrived, and complacency is no longer an option. Great naval powers must evolve or risk being left vulnerable. Beyond the US-China rivalry, other navies offer key lessons in carrier operations. The UK's Royal Navy uses its two modern carriers, HMS Queen Elizabeth and HMS Prince of Wales, primarily for diplomatic engagement and alliance building. Deployments, like the HMS Prince of Wales's visit to Tokyo, reinforce partnerships and showcase British technology. For Britain, carriers are floating embassies, tools of statecraft and influence. In stark contrast, Russia's sole carrier, Admiral Kuznetsov, has become a symbol of decline, plagued by breakdowns, and likely never to sail again. Russia's inability to maintain its carrier highlights the immense challenge of sustaining such capabilities. The UK's focused, sustainable approach stands in contrast to Russia's decline, offering a lesson for all aspiring carrier powers. Building and maintaining carriers requires more than steel. It demands strategy, resources, and commitment. In the race for naval supremacy, the true advantage isn't just hardware, it's people. China's rapid carrier construction is impressive, but building expertise takes decades. The US Navy's century of carrier operations has created a deep well of institutional knowledge. Every aspect of carrier life, from flight operations to logistics, is governed by doctrine refined through real-world missions. US pilots and crews have far more experience in complex missions than their Chinese counterparts. This teamwork and muscle memory transform a carrier from a floating airfield into a dominant weapon system. China is investing heavily in training, but closing this gap will take years. Every US deployment is a floating university, adding to the Navy's vast reservoir of experience. China can build more ships, but America's decisive edge remains its unmatched skill and knowledge. In the Great Carrier Showdown, experience is the hardest advantage to replicate. New weapons, hypersonic missiles, stealthy subs, and drones have led some to question the future of the aircraft carrier. China's DF-21D carrier killer missile and other threats could force carriers to operate farther from shore, challenging their effectiveness. Yet, a carrier never sails alone. It's protected by a multi-layered defense of ships, subs, and aircraft. US carriers are evolving, integrating new technologies like unmanned aerial vehicles and advanced electronic warfare to counter emerging threats. The carrier's mobility, firepower, and layered defense still make it the world's most survivable mobile airbase. The concept is not static. Carriers adapt to new realities. While vulnerabilities exist, reports of the carrier's demise are premature. The US Navy is investing in innovation to keep carriers relevant in a changing threat environment. The aircraft carrier remains a central pillar of naval power, even as it evolves. Despite new threats and high costs, the US and China remain committed to the aircraft carrier. No other weapon system matches its blend of military might, diplomatic influence, and national prestige. For the US, carriers are the bedrock of superpower status. For China, they're proof of technological ascendancy and global ambition. The contest is now about who can better protect and integrate carriers with new unmanned and cyber capabilities. The carrier is evolving into the central node of a networked system of naval power. Its mobility and versatility give leaders options, from humanitarian aid to full-scale combat. As long as oceans remain vital to trade and competition, the sight of a bustling carrier deck will symbolize national power. The age of the carrier isn't over, it's entering a new, more competitive chapter.